All right, YouTube friends, we've got another mod. I know, it's like, why do we have so many mods for this car? I gotta get something straight with everyone. What's the reason for this? Why do we do it? We all love cars. So, we put some love, put some energy, put some engineering into modifying our cars to be the best car that they can be. It doesn't have to be a race car. It doesn't have to be an expensive car. The idea of tuning is what I want to convey through a lot of these videos. You can always tune a car to be better than it was from the factory. You can tune it to how you want to drive it. You can tune it for exactly your lifestyle. So, with that in mind, remember, all of these mods are for why I want to tune my car. Basically, a nice handling street car. NA doesn't matter. Turbo doesn't matter. It's a car. It's gonna roll on four wheels. It's got suspension. It's got a chassis. You got lots of parts to play with, guys. Especially these Subarus, right? They say that they're like Lego pieces, and they kind of are. You can take parts from older generations, newer generations, different trims, different models, and just put them on your car. That's what's fun about modifying Subarus. It's because it's an economy car, and I like tuning it. So, what do we buy? I think some people on Facebook group may have seen this, but I got another package from Russia. The previous one from Russia was a rear 3-point strut tower board that goes in the trunk, ties the two top struts together. Today we have this thing here. It's a rear subframe bolt brace. There could be other names for it, but basically like the BRZ, the Forester, this Impreza, the Crosstrek, 2008 WRX, probably even the VA chassis 2015, all use this rear subframe. So the width is the same. I got to paint it in gold, but I kind of wanted it to be in yellow gold, but they gave me like kind of gold. So that's okay. We're just going to put it in. It's going to be under the back here, and we're going to try to install it today. So I have the rear jacked up. It's on jack stands. The fronts are chalked up. I'm going to be removing this bolt there and that bolt over there. Someone had mentioned to me in the comments that these subframe bolts are something called stretch bolts. So they're supposed to be one-time use only, because when you torque them down, they kind of stretch into form. Once you've pulled them out like multiple times, they may not be as effective. Well, anyway, that's just good information for anyone that's really doing this proper. For now, I'm going to reuse them. This flange, I'm thinking, may have a problem fitting inside of the cup of this bottom washer. So we might need to space off a little bit, getting that extra couple of millimeters that I need to kind of clear that washer cap. So I went to the hardware store and I picked up a bunch of various thicknesses of washers. Fits almost perfectly. I got this from the hardware store, a couple of bucks, but just guaranteed fitment, so that the space, the gap here, is a tiny bit of a gap so it doesn't rub. All right, so I got the camera set up for you guys. This is from Russia, like I mentioned. The company, its name is Kein, Kein, and they were pretty popular, I think, for a lot of the previous generation WRXs. They created a lot of good quality parts for that chassis, and luckily this one carries over because this car uses the same subframe as the other car. Okay, we're gonna go bolt, 2 washers, the OEM washer. Yep, 17 mil, hopefully it'll thread in. So what is this gonna do? It's gonna tie this subframe bolt to that subframe bolt, so that if there is any kind of like side to side movement of the frame flexing, or the chassis wanting to go, say, to the right, the top of it would go right, the bottom of it would flex, and I guess it would push it that way. So when these two are tied together, there's going to be less flex in the bolt inside of the bushing. So we're gonna see if this actually keeps that rear end a little bit more solid. Time Attack's one of my inspirations, you know, at least in spirit. So we're gonna put this one on, we're gonna put the other one on and see what it's gonna do. All right, so we got clearance all the way around. So we're gonna torque this down to around 100. If you guys have any suggestions on what kind of things I should do for this car, leave a comment in the comment section, because I'd be interested to hear, you know, based on all of my other videos. Hopefully everyone's really enjoying these modifications that I'm doing. Hopefully everyone's learning, or, you know, feeling inspired to tune this platform, because, you know, while a lot of people in the performance world, you know, tend to go for the big cars with the big engines, it's quite satisfying to know that your, you know, middle of the road economy car can still be tuned for the handles. All right, solid. This one's made out of steel, I believe. This is tubular steel, but it's an oval shape. And I think other people use aluminum. This is a steel, so you know it's gonna last. It's not too heavy. I should have weighed it, huh? Darn. Anyway, good enough. Always settle your suspension after you put the car back down. I like to get in the trunk and flip it down. So as an update, I mentioned in a previous video that I had a little bit of squeaking and I did a bit of lube. What I ended up doing today was taking off the wheels, taking off the calipers, and putting the backing plates behind the aftermarket B-Spec Project Mu brake pads. I read that, you know, without the backing plates, there's sort of like a little bit of play. Okay, friends, so I'm here in the Impreza. I've just added the rear subframe brace, and, you know, we're gonna see what kind of things it has done to the rear of the car. So again, you know, fully modified rear suspension, subframe bushings, lateral control arms, toe links, and trailing arms. So the most recent one is this rear subframe brace that ties the two rear subframe bolts together. Oh, the rear end is you know, there's a lot less of I don't know how you describe it, but when the car turns, there's a sort of like it takes a moment for the rear chassis to kind of snap back. That is significantly reduced with this modification. I can tell that there's less rear subframe movement. Okay, so that's what that does. I like it. You know, for $100. Pretty simple mod too. May as well do the subframe bushings while you're at it. But I think it's a very good, easy mod. Not on the top of the list. I think the subframe bushings are actually better. But if you kind of want to get rid of the chassis on subframe lateral movement, this subframe bracket, subframe brace will help. Worth $100. There you go. Oh yeah, for sure. That's why the Time Attack guys have it, because when they pull those hard corners,